Okay, so hello, welcome to my video about the Disney Cultural Exchange Programme. As you might be able to guess from the title, I will be doing the Cultural Exchange Programme this summer 2024. I will be moving to Flamingo Crossings Village, where all of the CPs stay, on 10th of June. And so this video is all about trying to help people understand how the programme works, how the application process works, what happens at every different stage, and how you get in. Obviously, I'm from the UK, you can probably tell from my voice, and so this video is specific about the UK Cultural Exchange Programme. I'm sure it will apply to other countries' cultural exchange programmes as well, but if you are interested, definitely make sure to look onto Disney International Programmes because they have loads of information about it. For the UK, we apply through Yummy Jobs. It's a recruitment company, and that's how we apply. I don't know exactly how other countries do it. I'm pretty sure they use just the Disney Programmes website directly. The Cultural Exchange Programme is only for certain countries. And if you're interested in something like this, there's a number of different programmes that Disney run. You can look at the Disney Programmes website to find out more information. They have the Cultural Representative Programme as well as the Cultural Exchange Programme. They have the Academic Exchange Programme, where your university has to be linked to this programme. They have the Culinary Programme. They have the College Programme if you're from the US and in college. All of these different things, so definitely look into them if you're interested in working at Walt Disney World. So yeah, for me, I'm doing the Cultural Exchange Programme and I'm so excited about that. Obviously I don't yet know where I'll be working. You don't tend to find that out until about a week or two before you go, but I do know my role. I'm working in merchandise. Really excited about that as well. That was my top choice, which we'll learn more about later on in the video. I wanted to make this video because I found these types of videos really interesting and really useful while I was applying, before I was applying, getting to know what the programme was going to be like, even before I made the decision to want to apply. So I really hope this video will help someone else. I know it's really long, but you can definitely have a look at all the timestamps that I'll have written down in the comments, and that will help you know where each part is, and then hopefully this video helps someone who's applying or is deciding about wanting to apply. Yeah. Enjoy the video. Today is Friday the 28th of April 2023. Applications for the Disney Cultural Exchange Programme for 2024 just went live at 5 p.m. I haven't been on Instagram, so I only just found out. And I feel sick because, like, they weren't meant to open until June, July is what the website said, and all of the YouTube videos I've watched before have said they've opened in June. So I was not expecting this at all. I thought, because my university exams finish on the 19th of May, I was like, right, amazing, I'm going to finish my university exams and then I'm going to polish my CV, I'm going to write a cover letter, and I'm going to plan everything, and I'm going to watch so many YouTube videos by then about what's best to include in a cover letter and all of that, and it'll be fine. I don't have that time now. It turns out I'm going to do applications close on the 30th of June, which obviously is the time I was expecting them to open, which is crazy, but that means I do still have from the time my exams end until then to submit an application, but I can't decide if I want to try and write it now and submit it now and be an early bird. I feel like that is better. Also, like, get it out of the way. Like, it's definitely anxiety inducing. Or do I want to focus on my university exams? They're only first year or whatever. And then, think about this application after exams. I'm not sure. Maybe this can be a break in between revision for the next few days. My parents aren't even home right now, so when they get back on Sunday, I'll be like, Mum, read over my CV and read over my cover letter and all of that. I already had edited my resume to be Disney suitable, like to be ready for this application. So I just need to kind of go over it, make sure it's got everything they're asking for, check I'm happy with it, and then write my cover letter. I'd already like planned out a little bit of what I was going to say, but I hadn't actually written it yet. I'm regretting that now. Because I do not have the time that I thought to be watching all these YouTube videos about what to include. I've saved so many playlists and it's like I want to watch them. With the intention of writing this cover letter really well. But really all it's about is conveying who I am. And I know that. And I know that I can write well. And hopefully that will come across. That I am passionate and hardworking and would really, really like to work in this job. But yeah, this is step one. I mean, I'm thinking this is going to turn into a YouTube video. If I don't get in, it won't. We'll see. I kind of can't believe there's like already like a timeline now. You know, pre-screen interviews being held in July, final in-person interviews in September 2023. That's crazy. Step one is coming along already. Hopefully it works out. Hi, today is the 30th of April. I have submitted my application for the Cultural Exchange Programme for 2024. I did it a few hours ago, like 3 hours ago, while I was at my nan's house. I spent all of the 28th evening polishing my CV, tailoring it to Yummy Jobs, and then I spent all day yesterday writing my cover letter. If I get through to the pre-screen interview, then I'll probably talk about what my CV and cover letter entailed, what was in them, to give people some help with what to include in theirs, because that really, really helped me feel more confident with mine. I'm still bricking it, of course. I can't believe I've submitted it, and I got like a little email from Yummy Jobs saying thank you for applying for a position in the USA. I was like, oh my god, that's crazy. And it was like, we'll get back to you at some point, but obviously I know that some point is going to be at least a month away. The application's closed 2 months today. Like, it's going to be a while, I know. So I just got to try and forget about it, but crazy. Hello, I'm currently in Bratislava in Slovakia, but I just got an email from Yummy Jobs saying that I've been selected for a pre-screen interview. And so I've booked that in already. It's going to be online on Friday the 14th of July. Today is Monday the 3rd of July. Yeah, so really exciting. I've got a pre-screen interview. Yeah, there's been a bit of a change with like the dates of the application process with Yummy Jobs at the moment. I'll explain that later, probably when I'm not traveling. But yeah, really pleased with that and excited to have it booked in. And I've given myself some time to kind of go over like what the pre-screen interview will consist of and kind of prepare myself a little bit for it. But yeah, exciting. Hi, today is Friday the 14th of July. It's currently about 10:45 a.m. My pre-screen interview is at 11 a.m. So it's almost time. Exciting. I've been talking to people about what questions they've had, and yeah, we'll just see how it goes. This is obviously what I'm wearing, and just some black trousers. Not that it really matters because it's online, so they won't be able to see anything other than this. I'm checking out my earrings just to maybe like fulfill the Disney look a little bit more. I'm not wearing any makeup just because I couldn't be bothered, and also Disney look, I don't know. Yeah, I'm not too nervous actually. We'll see how it goes. Wish me luck. Okay, so that was my pre-screen interview. It's done. It literally took 15 minutes exactly. I had Nails. She was so lovely, literally just smiley the whole time. So brilliant. I'm trying to remember what she asked me. So I first got in there and she first asked me, did I watch the presentation, which is attached to the email about pre-screen interviews and signing up for that. And of course I said I did watch the presentation. She said, did you have any questions? And I asked her just about the taxation, and she said, you know, it's completely fine, we'll send out way more information when it gets to that stage. It comes out of your paycheck automatically. And I was like, lovely, that sounds great. Then she started getting on to the actual questions. She asked me why I want to do the programme, what appeals to me about the programme and working for Disney. And so I said that working with children for me was the main draw because I have a lot of experience working with children, and so it'd be great to impart my wisdom and get to continue making magical moments for people, because I understand children quite well. And then I also said that I've been really lucky enough to attend quite diverse schools and universities, and it'd be really great to get to continue that, especially in a different continent where you're meeting everyone from all across the world, especially from the American continents, which I've not quite experienced much of. She then asked me what my biggest challenge would be. I think I said just kind of issues with maybe guests who were struggling with the heat or with long queue times, just things that make them frustrated about their environment, maybe rebelling against the rules a little bit. And I just told her about how in my experience before, I've had a guest who was not very happy about the rules, and I explained kind of what the rules were, why they're important, why they're the right decision, and then eventually he decided to take the right direction. And I was just saying how, you know, you've got to overcome the challenge, especially with children. They might not be able to express their emotions so much. You need to let them know that you think it is a big deal what they're going through, and just make sure you sympathise with them. She asked me would I be okay with sharing a room with people. I said I've lived in university halls, I shared a kitchen and bathroom. We just made sure to agree some rules before, and then, you know, really weren't any issues. And I also said how I've slept in shared bedrooms for the last couple of weeks. I've been interrailing, so I've been staying in hostels. I just said that was completely fine. She asked me, you know, is my passport valid? I said it will be. She asked me would I be okay with working different shifts and working long hours, and I said of course I'd be okay working different shifts. It'd be quite fun because there'd be different groups of people at those different times, and I said I'd be okay with working long hours. Just recently on Tuesday I was working as an extra in a TV show, and we worked a 13-hour day, and that was just completely fine. You just have to knuckle down and get used to it. It's completely fine. She asked me would I be okay with all of the roles? I said I'd be comfortable with all of them. Lifeguarding I might feel less confident in, but I do have experience in that role. I'm first aid trained and I've done a water safety course. But I would feel most comfortable in merchandise because I have experience working in retail, and I'd quite like to do a guest interaction job because that's something I feel very confident in, and I'd really feel I'd excel at that. And then she asked me who my favourite Disney character was, and I said that I love Belle because she's my favourite Disney princess. You know, she loves to read and she loves her family, and of course all the Disney characters do. But I was saying how I just recently rewatched the Monsters Inc. series, and I love Mike Wazowski. So funny. And she said, yeah, I think he's a great character and pretty underrated. And I was like, yeah, love him. He's just so funny. You don't even realise it until you're rewatching. You're like, that is so good. That's hilarious. And then she just kind of explained a little bit about the programme, just saying that of course there's quite a hot country, and so you have to make sure you're okay with that, make sure you're telling your management if you're okay or you're not okay. I've remembered some more things that were said in the interview. She asked me also something that I would want to improve about myself on the programme, and I said that I'd like to improve my ability to interact with adult guests. That's not something that I have done as much as with children, because while I have worked in retail, it wasn't for that long, and so it'd be great to improve on that. Something she explained also about the programme was about how the visa works, and so you'd have to work 2 hours as a minimum each week, but it tends to be more like 40 hours because that's the average working week, and then anything above 40 hours is overtime, and you do earn extra pay on that. So that's good to know. But yeah, that was more just a programme explanation. Of course, she asked me do I meet the criteria. She asked me, you know, about I'm going to my second year of university. She said, am I available mid-June to mid-August? Of course I said yes. That was pretty much everything. It went pretty well. I think I spoke pretty well, and I just kind of tried to stay smiley the whole time, and we'll see. But yeah, she just kind of explained a little bit more about the interview process and how they're going to be finished by mid-August, so we'll hear back by the end of August, and then final interviews will be in December with Disney. So yeah, that's exciting, and I'm happy that that's done. Yay. Because I did get through the first stage of the application, I thought I would give a little bit of information about what my initial application online consisted of. So that's my resume or CV and my cover letter. I know that in previous years they've asked questions as well as the resume or cover letter. Things like, why do you want to do the programme, etc. But that just wasn't an option for us. It's just resume and cover letter, and then just some questions about yourself, just making sure that you are eligible for the programme. So for my CV, obviously it had my name and my contact details at the top of the CV. I put my education first, just in case anyone's curious about that. So I started with my university, and in case you don't know, I'm going into my second year at the London School of Economics and Political Science, or LSE. I made it very clear that I'm studying history, and it's a full-time degree. That's something they are quite particular about on the application. I just mentioned my positions that I've taken on as part of university. So that's I've been working in finance for my hall, on the hall committee. I've worked on a lot of drama productions, and I've just been elected treasurer for 3 societies. I then listed my secondary school, and I listed my GCSE grades and my A-level grades and what my subjects for A-level were. And again, I mentioned responsibilities and roles I had during secondary school. So that was being a prefect, being a secretary for a young enterprise company, being a history associate, founding a history society, and doing lots of school productions, including choreographing one. That's when I then moved on to my experience, and so again I went in chronological order from most recent to most in the past. So I started with my experience working as a supermarket assistant in Waitrose over the Christmas period, and I really wanted to emphasise that it's quite a luxury store, and so it really focuses on the consumer experience and how I had a consumer-facing role as a cashier, and I wanted to make sure there was a high quality of the store for them. I then talked about my experience volunteering as a room guide for a National Trust property, and talking about I emphasised our diverse range of guests, and my feedback that I've had in being engaging, and I also talked about my roles in emergency that I've been trained for. The next thing I talked about was the virtual work experience I've done on SpringPod. I mentioned that I've done the Barclays Life Skills work experience, which focus on like teamwork and a growth mindset, important things for general life, but I also particularly talked about the teaching work experience I've done, because obviously that's talking about working with children and understanding emotions of children and working positively with children, so that's quite topical for Disney. Then I talked about my experience tutoring. I've been a tutor 4 different times. I've volunteered as a tutor a few times, I've worked as a tutor a few times for a massive range of ages, and I just really want to emphasise that I've worked with children of all ages, both in schools I volunteered in, and I've also worked both online and in person, so I've really done a range of tutoring, just really making that clear, and across different subjects as well. I then talked about the babysitting that I've done for a few years, again emphasising the range of ages of children around my local area, and just really making it clear that obviously that doesn't just require looking after children, it also requires communicating with their parents, understanding what they want. I then mentioned my experience volunteering as a young leader at Brownies. Obviously that's very much focusing on looking after children and leading and cleaning and multitasking and everything like that. Just really, I think the CV is just mentioning keywords, put in things that you think are going to be appealing to Disney and to Disney World. I then just mentioned some public speaking roles I've had within my secondary school. I worked with Transport for London as a youth travel ambassador, and we had to do a pitch competition. And I've also, I was part of a team organising a fundraising week for a breast cancer charity, and I talked about how I had public speaking practice in that, as well as helping with sales. And then finally at the end of my resume I just talked about my selected skills and achievements, to make it clear that's not all of my skills and achievements. But that was just my Duke of Edinburgh awards, my first aid qualification, my water safety qualification, and my driving licence. So that was my resume, and then of course, as I said, they want you to write a cover letter. I'll be honest, I don't think it matters too much about how formal of a cover letter this is. I did try to do mine pretty formally. I did write all my contact details and my address and the date at the top of the letter, and I did say, "Dear Yummy Jobs Limited," and I said, "Yours sincerely, Jess Edwards," at the end of it. But I don't think that matters too much. I think they're just more looking for a bit more information, and maybe they kind of want to see how you write, just because that can kind of convey maybe how confident you are in speaking as well. I don't know exactly what they're looking for, but that's what I gauged from it. In terms of what I included, my first paragraph, I just kind of talked about who I am. I said I'm excited to be applying for this programme, I'm very capable, I'm hardworking, here's a little bit about my experience, I have worked with children quite a lot, and then I just kind of gave a reason for wanting to participate, which is that I like Disney. I admire Walt Disney World, especially for the prioritising its guests, and I would want to continue to pass that on. To be honest, I think I have seen some people say that they only wrote that much for the rest of their cover letter, which I can understand because you really don't need much more than that, I don't think, but I kept going. My next paragraph, I was talking about how I've been lucky enough to go to Disney World, and I talked about how my brother got chosen to do the Lion Roar in the festival, The Lion King, and how that was just wonderful to see as a family, and that really just made the trip for me, and we still talk about it now, and how making that magic is what the cast members get to do, and that would be the most special thing to get to do, basically. Then in my third paragraph, I talked about what I've done in the past, work experience wise, and how this would help me for this role. So having been working in a supermarket, having worked as a room guide for the National Trust, I've worked with a lot of guests, having worked in a team a lot, Duke of Edinburgh, having worked with children, tutoring, babysitting, I can work with other people, I can work with children, I can overcome challenges. And then I also talked a little bit about how Disney World is a business leader, and it'd be great to learn about that because I do hope to work in the entertainment industry, hopefully in my future career, probably in a finance role. But I think it's good to kind of show why this isn't just a little job for you, it would actually help you for the future. This is my opinion. My final paragraph was then on the importance of cultural exchange. Obviously, this is something they take into consideration a lot because it's called the Cultural Exchange Programme. The visa is a cultural exchange visa. It's quite important. I just talked about why it's important to me because of the world being extremely diverse and how everyone's human. And then just talked about how it would be great to get to continue learning about people from across the world and how I've had the pleasure to do that a lot at university and living in halls and travelling, and through my actual studies of the international history, which is what my department is at university. I think how learning about the present and learning about how diverse the present is and international cultures nowadays is really important to study history, otherwise what's the point? And then I kind of just concluded saying it'd be the perfect programme for me. I would perform well, represent Disney, make the most of the opportunity, and I just gave a little thing about thank you for your consideration. And that was my cover letter. So that was the online application, which I was very happy with. Reading over it actually hasn't made me cringe too much, so that's pretty good. But yeah, so I kind of reiterated some of that in my pre-screen interview, of course, but I believe that in the final interview they talk a little bit more about your resume and cover letter during that interview. We'll see if I get one and if they actually talk about that. But that's my online application summary, so now I've kind of really updated you. Hello, today is Monday the 21st of August. I have a bit of a cough and a cold, so my voice does not sound great, but I'm home now. But while I was out, I was actually on the train going to see James Acaster perform stand-up in London. It was amazing. And ironically, I was with my friend Abby, who I was with in Bratislava when I found out about getting a pre-screen interview. We were on the train together, and I found out I got a final interview, at the Disney headquarters, which will be the week commencing the 4th of December. So crazy. Clearly I need to be around Abby when the final interview results come out. I'm so pleased. I haven't really had a chance to read over like the group chat yet of everyone else, because I literally like just got back and it's like midnight. But yeah, I'm so pleased. Honestly, like this is the stage I wanted to get through to. Like I do obviously really want to get through to the programme. I'd really like to do the programme. But I really want to get to go to the Disney headquarters in Hammersmith. Because I've just seen pictures before, people who've done their interviews there, and like it looks so cool and like all Disneyfied and everything, obviously. But I've seen people like take pictures and stuff, and I think they're really cool. I think it's obviously just a really good experience as well. And how cool to get to say that you've been interviewed by Disney, even if you don't get it. I think it's fun. I think at this stage I probably will end up putting out this video even if I don't get onto the programme, just because then people know exactly how the whole process will go, and the whole interview application process, and like obviously if I've managed to get through to the final interview I must have something that they want, so my application, like CV, cover letter, pre-screen interview must have been good enough. So I'll probably put this out in order to help people with that, because again, as I said, I think I've said this before, I found these kind of videos really useful while prepping my own application. But yeah, I'm just so pleased. There's actually a joke about Disney World in James Acaster's stand-up tonight, so that felt like a little bit of a sign. Yeah, I'm really pleased, and I just haven't like sorted everything out yet, because I just like literally got it on the train. I was like, oh my god, and then I just haven't really read past that, but I'll do that tomorrow, and I'll probably update you on like what the email actually says, go into a bit more detail, but I just wanted to share that I did get an interview, and I'm really happy, and I'm really excited for December, which is really far away, but cool. Hi, I thought I'd just give another update. So on the 23rd of August, I got an email from Disney International Programs, and that email just said they want to invite me to complete an application for the Disney J1 Cultural Exchange Programme Summer 2024, and then there was a link attached which is specifically for me, so everyone has their own application link, and that was literally all the information that was in the email. So then when it's time for me to start my application, I'll just give you a little run through of what the application this year consists of on the Disney website. So when I come onto the application link, it just gives a little description of what the job is. The Disney Cultural Exchange Programme, summer work experience at Walt Disney World Resort, working at frontline roles at theme parks and resort hotels, experience Disney magic. And then it gives basic qualifications that you need to have. So you must speak English fluently, you must be at least 18, you must have the Disney look, and you must be available to work all week, including days and nights, holidays and overtime. You must be enrolled full-time and pursuing a degree at an institution located outside the US, and you must have completed at least one semester of study. And then it says candidates should attend an in-person presentation and interview in either Canada, France, India, Hong Kong, Mexico, Taiwan, Thailand, Turkey, Spain, or the United Kingdom. And you must upload your resume and cover letter for the job. Then it says that the pay rate is $16 an hour, at least, depending on the role. It gives a little link to the Disney Programs website to explore a little bit more information. And then it has an apply button, so I'm going to click on that. So you have to sign in, and you should make a username and password, and I have created my account already, so I need to sign in. And then it says the job application part, so time to press let's get started. So then what it wants is my first name, middle name and last name, and preferred first name and things, and then my phone number, email address, postal address, my education history, and my work experience. including volunteer work. It does say that, so I'm going to fill that out now. So in the education section, it only asks you about degree level education. So the options to talk about your current level of education or your highest level of education are college years, like it says freshman or first year or sophomore, second year, up to graduate. And then when you put in the actual institution that you attend, your options are what type of degree it is, so bachelor's, master's, whatever. So I've only put in my university for the education. You can put up to 3 programs you've done or schools you've been to. For work experience, you're allowed to put up to 5 of your most recent positions, and you want to tick the one that's most recent. So for me, I put in my being Brownie's young leader, being a babysitter, being a tutor, being a National Trust room guide, and being a supermarket assistant at Waitrose, because I think those are all, well, they are my most recent work experience, and they are also, I think, very relevant to the job that I'm applying for, working with children and possibly working in retail or working with customers. Yeah, so then time to press save and continue. So then the next part, once you submit that part, is uploading your resume and cover letter. So I'm going to go through and check that mine are still okay. I've edited a little bit because I finished tutoring now, and I've found out what the student I was tutoring got in her A-levels, which was very good, so I will be putting that on there. I don't think there's any more changes I need to make, but I'll just give a quick read through to my whole resume and my cover letter, and then I'll upload that. So I went through and made a couple of changes to my resume, just little things like adding in extra words, and as I said, just adding in that extra information about my tutoring, and updating some dates and things. That was really it, just to make a little bit clearer. But then for my cover letter, I did change a few more things, just the fact that I'm an incoming second year student rather than writing that I'm still a first year student, changing the date at the top of my cover letter. And then I also just read through it just to make sure it was all okay, and I changed the file names for both of them, just to make them sound a bit more professional, and also make it clear to myself that those are the ones I've sent to Disney. And then I uploaded them. Save and continue. Okay, now the next questions are my self-ID. Have I ever been employed by the Walt Disney Company or any of its affiliated companies? No. I am not a current or former employee. Which of these potential reasons were important to your decision to apply for a position within the Walt Disney Company? Company reputation, friends or family work at Disney, company invest in education, park admission and discounts, company values its employees, company social responsibility, opportunity for career advancement, or other. I think I'm going to go for company reputation, company social responsibility, and opportunity for career advancement, because I think I could happily talk about all of those in an interview. For me, I would talk about the company reputation being its ethos and how it really cares about the people who visit and how much it cares about the guests. The social responsibility, I would probably talk about the recent political struggles that the governor of Florida has had regarding Disney World, and I would talk about how I admire Disney for standing up against hatred and hate speech. An opportunity for career advancement for me, that would be that working in the entertainment industry is hopefully something I will get to do in my future, and so having this experience on my CV would be hopefully something relevant to that. How did I hear about this position? Internet/company career website, career event/organisation, referral, sign/billboard or other, and then I clicked on internet/company career website. It then says what? Company career website, job board, search engine, social media or other website. I'll click social media. Then you can answer questions, your gender, ethnicity, have you served or are you currently serving in the United States military? Well, I can answer my gender, I can answer my ethnicity, I chose my race, and I'm not currently serving or have never served in the US military. And then it's voluntary self-identification of disability. And then it says you can give a reasonable accommodation notice. Submitting a request is not an automatic guarantee of consideration for a position. You may become contacted by the company at a later date as part of the recruitment process. I assume that's to do with where you're living and Flamingo Crossings, and probably regarding how to make it more accessible for you. But I don't need to click on that. Save and continue. Are you at least 18 years of age? Yes. Are you currently enrolled full-time and pursuing a degree at an institution located outside the US? Yes. Have I completed 1 semester? Yes. Am I able to communicate through conversational English? Yes. Are you receptive to the pay rate? Yes. Are you fully available to work? Yes. Are you working with a sourcing agent? Yes. Yummy jobs. Okay, this is all very easy. Save and continue. Do you speak any language in addition to English? Sadly not. Then I think this is the final part. Maybe. I certify all the information I've provided is correct and complete. Type in your full legal first, middle initial, and last name, and that is indeed the date. Save and continue. And then it just goes through all the information I've already given for me to double check. Right, and then it's time. I've read everything, checked everything's all good. Time to send my application. Yay! So the application complete. Thank you for your interest in the Walt Disney Company. Your information has been submitted. We appreciate the time you've taken in preparing and sending us your information. So I've now got an email from Disney International Programs again, saying that they got my application, and what happens next is they review everything, and then they'll email me about my final interview. It says you can stay up to date on your status and messaging related to your application by visiting the candidate dashboard found on the Disney International Program website. On the dashboard it's just the same link, and you have to sign in just as you would normally, and you can click view your dashboard. On your dashboard you have your application for the Disney Cultural Exchange Programme is then submitted, and then you can track the status as like little tick boxes along, showing you where your application is. And I believe the dashboard is how people normally find out about their offers and things when it actually comes around to that. So that's exciting to know that I have that. That's kind of everything for now. So the deadline for completing the steps in the application is September the 7th, and that was that application that Disney sent. Following the application submission deadline, your details will be reviewed, and then you will receive an invitation to schedule your interview date and time. Once this is scheduled, you'll be invited to register your information in a second system called DOC. This is where you'll need to upload your passport and various other documents to upload and tasks to complete prior to the final interview, and through the whole process after. So please be sure to check DOC every few days, enter your address, your proof of student status form, which is attached to this email. So when I go back to university, I will be making sure someone signs that off for me. You will also, when you get sent the invitation to schedule your interview, as well as on your dashboard, you'll get your role checklist, where you need to note the order of preference for the following, for the roles: quick service food and beverage, merchandise, custodial, attractions and operations, and lifeguard. You will also be required to upload other documents: prior US non-tourist visas, don't have any of those, social security number, don't have one, any other passports, don't have one. It says interview slots are on a first come first served basis. We strongly suggest you don't book any travel until you've selected your slot and received the confirmation email. Once booked, interviews can't be changed, so ensure the date and times you select is practical for you. It's mandatory to attend the information session at the start of the day that you select your interview slot. Detail will be provided in your invitation to the interview email. Then it just talks a little bit about the Disney look and tattoos, which obviously doesn't matter so much for me. But yes, that means I've done everything I can now, and then after the 7th of September, I will receive some more information. Very exciting. Hello, today is the 11th of September, And I've just gotten more emails from Disney. Actually, well, this time it's from the email that's like the same link as is for our dashboard for the application. So the first email they sent was to complete the role checklist. Haven't clicked on that yet, so let's have a little look at that. Okay, so I click on the thing and it says my first name and last name. It says the following roles may be available as part of Disney International programs, and that is because they include all of the possible Disney roles for international programs. That's all the international programs. They include them all on this role checklist, but not all of them are available for the cultural exchange program that I'm applying for, and I know that because they sent us the information about this when they said we were through to the next round of interviews. So first of all, it says, please note the 4 roles listed below are available to all applicants in all regions, and those are quick service food and beverage, merchandise, attractions, and lifeguard. So then what it has is it has a description of each of the roles, and then at the end of each one, and I would recommend if you want to hear more about those descriptions, then you go look at It's Always Sunny, and you look at their video on this, because it has a really good in-depth thing of this role checklist, and it has, it's like I've seen this before, I've literally read through this before because I've seen it on his video, and it has all the information of like what each one says. Like for example, quick food and beverage has like 10 different things on the list saying selling food and beverages at outdoor carts and or indoor restaurants, etc, etc. So then there is a video file, but it says video unavailable, and it says that for all of the roles, having done a quick scroll through. There's some pictures as well, but those are available, not on, only on a certain few. So that's a little bit weird, but I don't really care. It wouldn't change my opinion, I don't think. So then it says, please indicate your level of interest in quick service food and beverage. So I am going to put, so the options are high interest, moderate interest, low interest, or no interest. I'm very tempted to put no interest for quick service food and beverage. I really don't want to do working with food. I just don't think that would be for me. I think working at a cart would be fine, but the idea of working in a restaurant, I don't know, just does not appeal. I'm going to put low interest for now, and I might change it later before I submit it. So then the next one is merchandise. So for this one, I'm going to put high interest. That's something I've tried to kind of sell myself on, is like, oh, I've worked in retail, I work with customers a lot, blah, 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 blah. So I want to put high interest in that in case that is what they want to put me in. So then the next one is lifeguard. So this is obviously being a lifeguard. So this one, it actually says, each individual must be evaluated and certified at the Walt Disney World Resort. All lifeguards must pass a swim test and a vision screening with at least 20/25 uncorrected or uncorrected. In the event you do not pass the swim test described below, you may be placed in another role based on availability. Oh my god, imagine if you got termed because of there not being enough roles. Maybe that wouldn't happen ever, I don't know. The lifeguard swim test is swim 200 yards, freestyle or breaststroke. Whoa. I've not done swimming in a long time. Retrieve a 10-pound brick from the deepest section of the pool, minimum 8 feet. Tread water with hands out of the water for 2 minutes. I think I could do that quite easily. I quite like treading water. I'm not sure I'd feel comfortable doing the retrieve a brick from the deepest section of the pool. Not sure my ears are good enough. Okay, I'm going to put low interest for that one, because again, it's not no interest, and I do have experience. I'm qualified in first aid and in water safety management. It's like a qualification I have, so it feels a little bit silly to say no interest, but I don't want to do it. And I wouldn't be happy if they put me that. Also, because I've heard, I don't know, I can't verify this obviously, while you do get paid $2 more per hour to be a lifeguard, because you're in a safety critical role, I've heard that they tend to only schedule you the minimum. Like, they tend to schedule you 32 hours a week because you're in a safety critical role, so they don't want you working too hard, they don't want you out in the sun too much. I don't know if that is true, but so like it ends up being that you actually don't make that much more money, or maybe already don't make more money, because I know there are people who work 60 hours doing merchandise, which not saying that I don't want to do that necessarily, but for me this would be a summer job. Like, I'm not just going with the intent of spending all of the money that I make on merch and food and stuff. I'll spend some of it, don't get me wrong, but I'd quite like to save a little bit of money from it as well. So yeah, lifeguard's not really that appealing for me. Okay, so yeah, the next one is attractions. Oh, the idea of working in parking, if you get attractions, would be so upsetting. Okay, well, for attractions, I'm going to put high interest. So then after that is where it starts to say, please note the roles listed below may not be available in all regions. So then we have custodial. Now this one is, we've been told, on the CEP for us. Now this one I'm going to put, for custodial, I'm going to put moderate interest, because I'm fine with doing all of that. I would just rather do merch or attractions. Then the next one is character performer. So that would be being in a costume role, communicating non-verbally to guests, signing autographs, posing for photographs, interacting with guests, must part. And it says you must pass audition for this role. And I have heard before that on the CEP final interview they say, oh, anyone who's put down interest in character performer, like, come over and we'll have a chat about that. I don't know if that will happen. I don't know if they will actually do that. I don't know if they have the need for that next year. I hadn't even thought about this one. I'm genuinely not sure what to put. I think it would be fun, but again, I don't know if you have the capability of working in other parks and if you actually get scheduled that many hours. But I know that you also do get paid for the hours that you are backstage for. Like, I know you do 20 minutes on stage and 40 minutes backstage. So, like, I don't know, but then I have to get so hot. Yeah, I'm not sure about that one. Again, so there's a star next to please indicate your level in... there's a star next to please indicate your level of interest in character performer, which is very interesting because it does mean we have to answer it, even though it's not on our programme. But anyway, I'll decide about that in a sec. The next one is then housekeeping. That one I'm going to put no interest, because I do not want to do that at all. Cleaning guest rooms, making beds, don't like that. Pushing large carts, again, not fun. Housekeeping, vacuuming, that's fun, but not other people's rooms. Heavy lifting, standing for extended periods, not great for my back. Working independently with a limited guest contact. I don't want to do that. The whole point of working there is to make friends on the CEP and to make magical experiences for guests. So, no interest. The next one then is character attendant. That one does sound quite fun. I might put high interest in that one. Then the next one is recreation attractions. Strong swimming skills. I think I'm going to put low interest in that one, because that one, so it says assisting guests in one or more recreational areas, waterside operations, towel rental, watercraft rental, marina operations, arcades, resort recreational facilities. No thanks, low interest. And the final one is a seater, greeting and seating guests in restaurants. I do think I could do that one. I'm going to put moderate interest for that one. That doesn't sound too bad. I also feel like that might be one where you get to move around a little bit, maybe. I don't know. Anyway, then at the end, it says, all roles include exposure to outside elements, including heat, cold temperatures, wet conditions, prolonged standing, walking and keeping work areas clean. All cast members working in food and beverage and merchandise positions that prepare or serve food and beverage are required to abide by the nail and jewellery policy, keeping in their fingernails trimmed and filed, no fingernail polish, no jewellery on arms or hands. We are committed to maintain a workplace that is free from the influence of drugs. So then I just have to put my full name and the date, and then I'll be able to submit it. So the next email that came through was, it says, we would like to invite you to a presentation and in-person interview, which obviously I already know, but it's very nice to see it there again. So you have to click the link below to schedule your presentation and interview, pay close attention to the location and date of the presentation you select. Presentations may be in different cities. You must schedule within the next 5 days or we will assume you are no longer interested in the programme. So when I clicked on the link, it had a calendar of December, that's when our interviews are, and it had 3 dates as an option. It had Wednesday the 6th, Thursday the 7th and Friday the 8th, and it just came up automatically for me on the first one with Wednesday. And so then it said, there's an option for selecting that, an option, or like a drop down, not drop down, so there's a column for selecting it, a column for location. So yeah, it just says location is Disney Cruise Line, Magical Cruise Company Limited, 3 Queen Caroline Street, Hammersmith, London, W69PE. And then it said presentation time. So in all of them, it said programme overview begins promptly at 9 AM. And then it has the column for time slot. And the one I wanted says interview window 10:30 AM to 11:30 AM. And then on the details column, it says you must attend the programme interview on the same date you are interviewing. Please arrive at 8:30 AM to register, get your building pass and be seated. Please read all details carefully prior to booking your interview date and time, as you will not have the option to reschedule your interview time slot. Attire is business casual. So yeah, I chose 10:30 to 11:30. There were options 10:30 to 11:30, 11:30 till 12:30, 1 till 2, 2 till 3 and 3 till 4. I don't know if that was different on the other days because I wanted Wednesday. I had hoped to get Wednesday afternoon because I don't yet have my university timetable, but I know for a fact that I will be free on Wednesday afternoons because that's sports afternoons. Obviously I never have any classes then, but my hope is that on Wednesday, if I get scheduled a class on Wednesday morning, I will contact the university and say that I don't want to do that. Anyway, that was my plan regardless because I'm commuting this year, so I don't want to spend money just to go in for a morning. So I should be free on a Wednesday no matter what. And when I saw that it was you had to get there at 8:30 AM and the programme overview begins at 9 AM, I was like, there's no point if I'm there from 8:30, 9 anyway, and I don't want to be waiting around from 10 to 3 PM. So thankfully I got the earliest one. I got 10:30, which I'm very pleased about. So it'll be over and done with in maximum 3 hours, which I'm very happy about. But yeah, and then I got an email confirmation saying that the location again, saying the overview is this time, saying the interview is this time, and it says, yeah, thank you for scheduling it, which is very good. So yeah, it feels really surreal now, like I do have my Disney interview scheduled, which is crazy. So then, presumably because I have now registered for an interview, I don't know if that's true, if this would have just come through anyway, but it just came through a few minutes later, so I'm not sure. But it says, in preparation for the next steps of your application, we request that you register in the Document Management System, DOC. We recommend you add the following information to DOC prior to your interview: a copy of your valid unexpired passport, copies of all prior US Q1 or J1 visas. I have none of those, that's all good. A completed proof of student status form, which I do need to get done. Complete candidate information form and address information. I assume that will be on the DOC when I click on it. I do need to sort out my passport because it has just expired, or it will expire in December. So I need to get a new one of those, but I'll sort that out at some point. It does say, if you are made an offer, all the above documents and information will be required before accepting the offer. So now it says, once you click the link below, follow the instructions in your DOC helpful hint box to create your account. And my username is just my email. Let's click on that. This is Disney Onboarding Central. So I need to press register, put in my email address, press register. Now I'm going to receive an email from Disney. So this email is from Disney Careers. It just says, thank you for registering for Disney Onboarding Central. Click the following link. Okay, and now I'm going to press activate account. So it says like Disney International Programs, it says Jess Edwards, Disney J1 Cultural Exchange Program 724, arrival date, and it's blank, which is weird. It says, welcome, as part of your application process, we need to collect certain documents and information from you. Upload the required document. Here, candidate information form, passport, and proof of student status form. So I need to do that at some point, but that's all I need to do now, other than my interview on the 6th of December. Oh my gosh. Crazy fun. Okay, hi. Today is Wednesday the 6th of December 2023. I am coming out of a cold, and today was my final Disney interview at Disney head offices in Hammersmith. What I basically want to do is just run you through all of the information that we got today and run you through how my interview went, and like what was asked, so that hopefully that helps. Because what I did a few weeks ago, and I read through it last night, read through it this morning, is I made a little document where I went back and I watched some different creators on YouTube. I watched what they said their interviews had consisted of, like what questions they'd been asked. Basically, that was kind of all I cared about, and I just wrote that down for a little answer to what I might write if I was asked that, and so that was quite helpful. So I'm just going to try and do the same thing. The first thing to say is, when you get to Hammersmith Station, you want to exit out of the Broadway exit and turn right and keep going right past the bus station until you see the Disney headquarters, which will obviously be Disney because there will be a massive clump of people in there, I'm sure, unless you're like the first people to get in there, but it does say Disney. And there's also like a Mickey Mouse on the wall outside. Well, you can see it from outside. It is inside, in the window. Almost got lost because of it. Thank God there were some other people around me who were able to help me out with getting there. That's something to consider, is know where you're going, because I was a little bit cocky and I was like, I'm from London, I'll know how to get there. Why would I know that? I've been to Hammersmith before, obviously, not been to the Disney headquarters, and they are really weirdly in like two different buildings, but it's called the same building. Anyway, that's the first thing. Second thing, you get in there, you do a bag check, you get given a lanyard that they put your, I'll insert a picture of it, they put your name and who you're visiting, what you're there for, and the date of expiry of your visitor pass. You don't get to keep the visitor pass, but you do get to keep the lanyard, which is really exciting. So yeah, they give you that, and then you go in and you go up the lift and you go up to the presentation. I'm not sure how many people there were today. I'm really terrible at estimating how many people are in a room. I think it was probably like 50 people. maybe more. Maybe more. God, I have no idea. I'm gonna say 50. But yes, we just got registered up on that floor with Yummy Jobs. They helped you up the whole way. They're there to help you. There's two lovely people, Jason and Alexis. Jason has done the CEP before, and Alexis is the one we've kind of been emailing the most, so it was really nice. Kind of have a bit of a familiar face. I'm sure some people had their interviews with them as well, like their pre-screen interviews. But yes, then we came into this big room and there were loads of chairs set out, just like you would for a presentation. You sat down and there's screens with some information on them. And so Yvette, who is a senior recruiter for Disney International Programs, went through and explained how everything would work. How the program would work, if there are any changes for this year, how living in Flamingo Crossings Village would work, about the costs of that, insurance, visas, accepting the offer, all of this kind of stuff. She talked about rent. Rent has gone up $11 per week since last year, but obviously pay has gone up $2 an hour since last year as well, so I guess that works out. The program participation fee has also gone up by $11. Yeah, that's just how these things work, because if your first week of rent is included in the participation fee, obviously if the rent goes up, the fee's going to go up as well, because the participation fee includes your first week of rent and the activities you'll be doing in your first week of living there, and then some like extra fees as well. I assume Disney get some money directly. Yeah, that's kind of much of what she went through. She obviously introduced herself, said what she'd done. She did the college program years ago, and she, as I said, is a senior recruiter. She had 3 other interviewers with her. They'd all actually done the college program when they were in university. Obviously they were all from the US. They'd all travelled over from Florida, and they now all worked as guest experience managers. They were all in different roles: custodial, merchandise, can't remember what the other one was in, possibly attractions. But yeah, like really knowledgeable, knew what they were doing, and also just so friendly. So that was really nice. We were in this really cool room, by the way, with stormtroopers to the left of you and an Elsa statue to the right. So it was quite cool. It was really like, okay, this is Disney. And like as you walk in, the lifts are all Disney. You see Silver Mickey Mouse. Like it was really cool. Very Disney. So yeah, and then she just kind of kept us talking about the rest of the program. Something else new that they said for this year is that they're actually going to be giving free park passes, like entry to the park, before you become a cast member, which is crazy because that's not been a thing before. Normally you just like kind of sit around looking for things to do for the first week before you are able to enter. I'm sure it won't be as efficient as they kind of like are implying it's going to be. Maybe it will take a Universal trip or 2, or a resort hop or a Target shop to fill up those days, but that sounds pretty good. Okay, and so then there are a couple of trivia questions as well. What's the point in, I'm not going to say what they were because that would spoil the magic. And then she just kind of left some time for questions. Obviously she like asked, who's been to Disney World before, that kind of thing. Yeah. She obviously talked a lot about Disney as a brand, kind of introducing that, and I was like, babes, we all know. But I do know there were a couple of people who I talked to who said, this made me want to do it more. Maybe they wouldn't mind it so much, they didn't get onto it, they've got other things happening next summer, and now they're like, oh no, that sounds good. So then what happened is we got split into our time slots. I think there were time slots like every hour, basically. I was in 10:30 till 11:30 because our presentation had been from 9 till 10, or actually I think it was more like 9 till 10:15. Then I was in the 10:30 to 11:30 slot, and so all of us in that time slot, as well as people in the 11:30 till 12:30 slot, all got put into a room together. It was like a little boardroom, and basically just told to wait. They came pretty instantly to come and get someone to go do their interview, and that was kind of it. From then on, everyone was just going out to their interviews. I went to the toilet. Sadly not very Disney-fied. Well, not at all Disney-fied. quite upset. Yes, I get this is an office. This is a place of business. Can we get some fun in here, please? Anyway, so yeah, just kind of getting to know everyone else in that room. It was a really nice environment, actually kind of calmed my nerves a little bit. But still, I was like amped up. I ended up being the last person of my slot to go for my interview, which was fine. I didn't mind that. So yeah, then I went in for my interview. It was very random as to who got picked for, which is whoever had just finished their last interview and now had a time for you to come and interview. So I was speaking to Colleen, who I later talked to you more about her role, but she didn't know, obviously she was one of the guest experience managers. I'll talk a little bit more about what she does when I get onto that. So I kind of walked in. I don't think I actually introduced myself. I think I just sat down and was like, hi, how are you? Are you feeling jet lagged? Like, when did you get here? Not the most etiquette, you know, ever. But she kind of just said, oh yeah, I got here on Sunday. All the others got here yesterday, blah, blah, blah. I was like, you know, nodding my head, interested. And then she went, hi, I'm Colleen. And I was like, oh my god, I haven't introduced myself. I was like, hi, I'm Jess. Not my best. Not very polite. But I think it was fine. And obviously she found my name, she found my information. It was all good. So then she double checked that I'm a student in a full-time degree at a accredited university educational institution, past secondary education, and something else. Basically just, obviously everyone applying to this they've already done this. You know that you're qualifying or not. So that was fine. She then asked me to introduce myself a little bit and say why I want to do the programme. So I said, hi, I'm Jess, I'm a second year history student, and I said that I'm in the Department of International History at my university. So I talked about the kind of the cultural exchange aspect of that, how I'd really like to, I've always liked learning more about different countries. I talked specifically about the US. I said that my favourite module this year is my US history module, and we particularly have a focus on US foreign relations as well as relations with Native Americans. So I think it'd be really interesting to go to Big Cypress Nature Reserve, which is like on Indian land in Florida. So that'd be really interesting, is what I said. And then I also talked about the fact that my experience, I think, really aligns with the programme, and also the fact that I really admire Disney as a company, and I really like entertainment and the idea of working in entertainment in the future. So that's kind of the first question. She then asked me if I have any retail experience. So I talked about the fact that I worked at Waitrose last year as a supermarket assistant, and so obviously I worked on the till, I worked in stock, and the fact that I work in Chessington World of Adventures, which obviously is a theme park, hoping that that works out for me, selling photos. And I obviously talked quite a lot about Chessington, especially at the moment with Christmas. We're selling Father Christmas photos, we're selling this experience to children, and I tried to really link that, you know, my sales experience with the idea of Disney. After that, she then asked me about my further work experience. So I talked more about my working with children. I've been a babysitter, a tutor. I think I've gone over all this a bunch, but I've been a babysitter, a tutor. I currently am a student ambassador. I work with 15 to 18-year-olds of a real range of ages. I've been a Brownies Young Leader, that kind of thing. And then I also talked about being a room guide for National Trust. I told her she should go to our property if she wants, while she's in London. Yeah, that was kind of the further work experience I think I talked about. The next thing she asked, I think, if I'm remembering correctly, is that she said, have I lived with roommates? I said, well, I've shared a room with my sister before, but in terms of like sharing a flat, I shared a bathroom and a kitchen and lived in uni halls last year. And I said I shared a kitchen with 40 other people, so that required, you know, some work. And she said, you know, were there any conflicts you had to resolve? And I said about how we had like a floor contract with an agreement, you know, to respect each other's space and property, etc., etc. Wash up the dishes, basically. And I just said, you know, if ever there was a problem with curfews, I would just knock on people's door and tell them. And that genuinely is the truth. I would just text my friends and say, listen, or like my next door neighbours who were my friends, and I would say, listen, you're being a little bit loud, would you mind turning it down? I've got a 9 a.m, you know, whatever it was. And they said, yeah, of course, absolutely. And then it's fine. And so that's kind of what I went into. That's kind of all she asked me about that. She then kind of like went over some other like checklist stuff. She really didn't go through it because Yvette, like the senior recruiter, had gone through a lot of the heat, the living with other people, the teamwork, the humidity, the wet, like all of these things, all these conditions that you could have, cash handling, all of that, you know, she just said, okay, so regarding all of the things, safety, etc., that Yvette went through, is that all fine? And I said yes. She went, okay, cool. She also asked me when my passport expires, and so I said, I can't remember the exact date, but I know it's from in 10 years, because I only just renewed it. She's like, okay, cool, 2033, that'll be fine. I'm like, yeah, I think so. Because obviously it has to be valid until the end of next year, because that's when the programme finishes. I think then kind of the final question she asked me, she got up my role checklist, and she said, you know, your top 3 roles that you ranked as like the ones you most want to do are merchandise, attractions, and character attendant. And I was thinking, don't remember that, but okay, sure. And so then she said, well, first of all, because she's head of merchandise, she told me, oh, so your top 3 choices are merchandise, nice, because I'm head of merchandise, attractions, and character attendant. That's good, because your previous experience is a really good foundation for that. And I was thinking, this is sounding like a perfect combination right now. I'm really hoping that works out for me. But so then she just asked me what my number 1 role would be and why. So I said merchandise, and I said that's because of my experience in retail, and I think it would give me a really direct link to working with children, which I really enjoy. I said that I would still like to do the other 2 roles, absolutely, and I was emphasising that I would find it really fun to do something new, just to kind of show I don't care, like if you can't find a merchandise place for me, that is fine. I will do anything. I will do any of the roles I put down, you know. I think that's kind of everything she said. Oh yeah, just to go back, so they kind of said that this year they have confirmed that CETA, character attendant, and photo pass will be options for this year. So obviously, like CETA and photo pass, they've been included in our ranking options anyway, so we'd kind of all rank those regardless, which is what character attendant she talked about with me. But photo pass you had to mention in your own interview if that was something you were interested in, and if you have photography experience. And I was like, no, thank you. But for a lot of people, I think they seem really interested in that, so that's quite good. And then the final thing she asked me is if I had any questions. So obviously I asked her, what is your role? And she said that she works in Epcot, and she said that normally when you go to the World Showcase, you turn to Mexico and you go around that way, but if you go to Canada, you go around that way. She said if you keep going, Canada, UK, I think she said Italy, and some other ones as well. I think there's about half the countries in the World Showcase. She's like, I run those pavilions, as well as International Gate and the US one, or something like that. And so she seems to run a lot. And she's like, yeah, it's very hands-on, you know, she's out there doing the work. So that just sounded great. Really interesting. And then finally I asked her, you know, what should I do? What should I prioritise to get the most out of the programme? And she kind of reiterated the point that Yvette had made, that you should attend the seminars that Disney offer, that they're on the Flamingo Crossings campus, you can just go there from your bed, you know, they've got leading professionals in everything coming to give talks and whatever it is, and you should just take the opportunity to do those. And I was like, yeah, that sounds good, I will do that 100%. So then she said, that was the end of the interview. She said, hope to see you next summer. And I said, you too. And I said, thank you, bye. I waited for a couple more people to come out their interviews, and then we went down with Alexis. We took some photos in reception. Got some food in the Nando's across the street with a couple of other people from the interview. They were waiting for their interviews. And then I actually went to the Disney 100 exhibition, which is kind of why I wanted to finish at 11:30 or later, because I knew I had a booking at 2, and I was like, it's not going to take me that long to eat. And Disney 100 exhibition was great. So that was kind of everything. That was my day, and I guess I'll update you before Christmas, because that's apparently when we're going to find out. I've muted everything now that I can about the interviews, so hopefully I don't stress about it. I hope we find out really soon, and I will update you if it's positive. So I got into the programme. Today is the 5th of January 2024, and yesterday on Thursday the 4th of January I got an email. The subject line was Disney International Programmes, congratulations, and the email was telling me, congratulations, you've been selected to participate in a Disney International Programme. So as soon as I got that email, I saw it comes from Do Not Reply, and I saw the subject line. I was just literally watching YouTube with my cat. He's like, he heard his name. Yeah, so I was cuddling with my cat watching YouTube, and I got the email, and I literally just clicked on it and then burst into tears, and I just kind of cried for a bit. I then kind of got up and was like, oh my god, this is real. Opened my door, my sister just happened to be there, so I told her. We went downstairs, I told my brother, then my parents came home and I told them. And then after all of that, and telling my parents, the next thing I did was I checked my role. I realised I should do that. The way I realised I should do that, basically what had happened was an hour before getting my offer, I got my offer at 2:36 p.m. About 50 minutes before that, I had been on the chat and people had just been talking about uni work and things like that, and I didn't really want to read that, so I just muted the chat for an hour, just kind of wait and hope the uni work chats had died down. That meant that even though the first people started getting their offers through at about 2:10, I didn't see any of those chats, and so I wasn't sitting there for 20-25 minutes on my phone just going, oh my god, am I gonna hear? I wasn't like refreshing my dashboard or anything like that. I don't know what time it came onto the dashboard, but yeah, I wasn't doing that or anything. I just got the email and that's how I found out, which I'm very happy about. I just happened to get really lucky having already muted the chat, and it just worked out kind of perfectly. I didn't have that stress because I know some people then kind of just sat on their phone like, oh my god, waiting for a few hours. I know some people are still waiting. I'll get onto that maybe. So yeah, the next thing I did, because I saw then these messages started rolling in, because it'd been about 15 minutes since I got the offer, these messages started like, oh, here's what my role is, here's what this is, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh god, I should really check my role now. So the way you check your role, from the email, you can click, it says click the link to go to your offer portal, candidate zone, application, documents and forms. Click on that. It tells you to carefully review your offer letter. This is the thing that tells you your role. So you click on that, it takes you to the usual dashboard that you've had for the whole time, except now it says offer, it says you're on step 5, you've got an offer now. And then if you click on documents, you can then open up your offer letter. It says Disney International Programme offer letter. It says congratulations, we are pleased to let you know you've been selected to participate as a cast member in the role below. Then tells you like what the pay is, what your dates are, you'll be scheduled a minimum of 30 hours a week. And then for me it says merchandise, and then it has a whole little thing of like all the different responsibilities you can have, all the different roles you can have, what you might need to do. That was all good. I read through the whole letter. It says just things like you need to complete all the acceptance steps, or verify you've met eligibility criteria, talks about the visa, insurance, background check, immigration, and then just some fine little things for you to read through. They're just like, these are things that could happen, some legal stuff. Sincerely, Disney International Programmes Recruitment. Then there's a little thing at the bottom, there's a little button, like drop down menu that says do you accept your offer. You either put yes or no and then submit. Obviously I put yes and then submit it. So that tells you on the email what will happen is you'll receive an email after accepting your offer, where you'll be able to submit your programme fees from that. So I just was like, okay, cool, so that comes really quickly. It did not. I didn't press yes on my offer letter until probably about an hour after I found out about the offer, because instead I was looking at flights. It's like he knows I'm going to be away for the summer. Yeah, because I was looking at flights, I didn't really think about accepting the offer. and I didn't really think about all the steps that come after it. So I just kind of was like looking at that, I was like, oh my god, this is what I'm going to do. And I was like, hey, let me go and actually set this off for now, because I just had it open on my phone, I hadn't got it open on my laptop. So then once I did that, I was like, cool, this email's going to come through really quick. It did not. It took, I think then about half an hour, I'm not exactly sure. It took a bit of time. So yeah, then at 4:49 I got an email saying the next step in your acceptance process is to submit your program fees. Now this is in a whole new website thing called Dorms. You have to click on a link, you register for Dorms. It's not too hard to do that because you get a temporary password, and then you change your password, and that was all good. And they give you, it's just your usual email that you use, and then you just press submit the program fees. And so I did that. It cost $442, which for me, I used like a MasterCard that has no extra fees for paying in foreign currency, and that cost me £350.49. I'll probably talk about all of the different costs that I encountered so far, and then I will encounter, just so that people know what's going to happen. Yeah, so I paid for that. That was all good. I also just like checked Doc again, that's like the Disney Onboarding Central, I think it's called, and just checked that like my passport was definitely still in the green, my proof of student status form was still in the green, and then at some point it updated to needing to put in a DS 2019 and where you want to have your visa appointment, like which embassy. And so I obviously don't have my DS 2019 yet because they haven't sent that through. They have to do that for us, like send that through, and then we can book everything else. But the visa appointment I put there want to be in London because that's where I live. Then once I paid, I then got a little email that said your scheduled arrival date is June 10th. You will be arriving and checking in that day. You will not be able to arrive at your housing complex later than 3 p.m. And so your program end date and departure from housing is August 15th. And then it says like welcome to the team, and then they have like a little pre-arrival website that has like a checklist. I just double checked that I had everything on there, and then that's when I then put in my visa appointment location. Then it says, please note additional information regarding your visa and how to book a visa appointment will be sent to you approximately 4 to 6 weeks prior to your arrival date. A little bit scary because it doesn't feel very long to get a visa, but you know, that's fine. I then got another email that said about the medical insurance they recommend. As far as I know, currently no one's been able to get the medical insurance, like it's not like letting us log in. So I feel like they'll probably send around more information about that. They just probably haven't. They're probably thinking no one's going to try, but obviously these girlies, we've all tried. Yeah, and so then all I did next was then just book stuff. So that was really cool. The first thing I did was book my flights. I am actually flying to Miami. I'm going on the 5th of June, and as you may remember just from now, our programme start date is the 10th of June, that's when we're moving into Flamingo Crossings. So I'm flying to Miami on the 5th of June, and then that's like the first thing I booked my flight to Miami, and then I'm going to be flying back from Orlando on the 14th of August. I'll be arriving back in London on the 15th of August. So I'm getting a red-eye flight. So like my flight is at like 8:30 in the evening. And the reason for that is that while move-out day is the 15th, you have to leave by 10 a.m. apparently. I'm sure they would let you stay longer or, you know, keep your baggage, whatever. But you have to leave by 10 a.m. as far as I know. And there's no flight for me that I want to be on that day until, again, 8:30 p.m. And so I wouldn't really want to be spending like 8 hours just kind of waiting to get on a flight. Whereas if I'm flying on the 14th of August, I'll still have everyone around me, I'll still be checked into Flamingo until I check out. And, you know, they told us in the presentation before the in-person interview that you definitely won't work on the 15th, and you most likely will not work on the 14th, even if I am scheduled to work on the 14th. I mean, if it's like an early morning one, that would probably be fine actually, and then it's been like my last shift. Or I would just schedule myself, like go swap out, but it'd probably be like a nice way to like spend the day in the park or something, choose a final park day, and then go home. I'm hoping that's all fine. I mean, I can't really do anything about it because I've already booked it. And part of the reason for that is that I'm going to the Taylor Swift Eras tour on the 16th and 17th of August in London, so in Wembley Stadium. Obviously, I will be dealing with some jet lag when I get back. I don't want to be too exhausted. I want to have enough time to chill out a little bit. And then also, I'm going on a family holiday to Corfu on the 19th of August. So it's like, I had to be back for those anyway. I know some people are like going off travelling, they go to like New York and they go in places like that, and I would have loved to do that. But I don't mind really saving that money, and also I've got things booked, you know, that I'm happy to be going home for. It's not as if I'm just going home for no reason on those days. So that's all good with me. So those are the flights that I'm booking, and then my plans in Miami is kind of then what I just booked from then on. So I then booked a hostel to stay in while I'm in Miami. Obviously I'm staying for 4 nights, from the 5th to the 9th of June. And I've got this hostel, I was staying in a 10-bed dorm. And it cost like $25 a night, which, or more? $25, $30 a night. Which obviously is a lot, but that's literally the cheapest I could find on Hostelworld. I mean, this is not the highest rated hostel in the history of the world ever, but I'm hoping I won't be spending too much time there other than, you know, sleeping. And yeah, so then the next thing I did, I booked the next thing I did after that, I then booked a Flixbus from Miami to Orlando for the 9th of June. So I will be getting to Orlando at about the same time that other people are flying into Orlando. I know some people are planning on getting there on like, most people seem to be getting there on the 8th. And I guess having like 2 nights in Orlando before moving to Flamingo. I'm fine with not doing that because I'm going to be exploring Miami. But also, yeah, it just means that I'll be getting to Orlando at the same time as some other people will be getting there on the 9th as well. So that's just a little 5-hour bus all the way from Miami to Orlando. Can't wait. But yeah, we'll see how that goes. I'm hoping it like won't be too busy, because who is doing that? Why? I'm doing that, I know why, but you know. Anyway. And then the next thing I booked is some stuff I want to do in Miami. So my plan for Miami is that on the Thursday when I get there, I'll be doing an Everglades tour, which is just so cool. I've always wanted to go to the Everglades. And obviously that's literally either in Florida or in Australia. And while I'm in Florida, I'm gonna go see Everglades, you know, so it's really cool. And so I've got this big bus tour booked from Miami to the Everglades. It's in the morning, like, because I'll be probably a little bit jet lagged, you know. So yeah, I think we get about 2.5 hours there. That includes one of those airboat tours. It's gonna be really cool. Get to see this wildlife show where you'll see some alligators and stuff, and then you have some other time. I'll probably buy a magnet, you know. Maybe I'll get some kind of special experience. Depends how much money I'm wanting to spend. And then I'll come back. And then that afternoon I'll probably just do some exploring of Miami. Probably be a bit tired. So that's all good. Then the next day I've got this tour booked to go to Key West. So I'll go see the southernmost point in the US, other than Hawaii, continental US. And yeah, I mean, I've not booked anything to do there. If it's like a really lovely day or something, I might, you know, go snorkeling or some kind of thing like that. That's like some options you can do while you're there. But there's also like some museums I quite like to go to. Obviously see the southernmost point. There's like a beach that's quite near there that I might like to go to. This would obviously all be a bit cheaper. And then, you know, I'll eat some Well, obviously I know they do seafood quite well there, but I don't eat seafood, so I won't be doing any of that. I'll be eating some other food and then probably some key lime pie. And that's kind of my plan for that day. It's going to be a long day. We're meant to leave Miami at like 6, 7 a.m. and then get back to Miami at like 9:30, 10 p.m. So it's a long day, which is, again, I was kind of debating whether to book a flight on the 6th of June, and like just scrap like having a day to explore Miami. And then I thought, you know what, like these are all quite tiring. It'll be nice to have like a day where I can just like wake up a little bit later, and to do some exploring by myself. And that's exactly what my plan is for the day after the Key West trip. So that's on Saturday, June 8th. I'm just going to see as much of Miami as I can. You know, maybe I'll end up getting like a little train up to like Palm Beach or something. I'm not sure. Depends how much I feel like there is to see. I know there's like apparently like this place called Manatee Lagoon in Palm Beach. So if that actually does have manatees, that'd be pretty cool. I'll probably go there. But you know, go to like Little Havana and you see all of that kind of Cuban influence would be really cool. All that kind of thing. So that's kind of everything I've booked so far. Other than that, this morning I made sure to get my travel insurance extended. So I have travel insurance, or my family has travel insurance with Nationwide Bank through like current accounts, my parents' current accounts. That only lasts for 31 days, like what we pay currently, and so we just had to pay an extra amount in order to extend it for my trip and make sure I'm covered, which is 71 days that I'll need to be covered for. And obviously that just like means we have to do it now because I've just booked the flights and everything. And so if the airline went under or something, or COVID happened again, any kind of pandemic or something like that, any kind of unforeseen events, I'd be protected. Okay, so now I'm just going to run through a little bit of like what the cost of everything was. So as I said, the program fee was $442. What this consists of is $202 are your first week of rent. So it just means that when you're out there, you don't have to worry about the first week of rent because you've not actually started working yet, and so you've not been paid yet. So that would be pretty harsh if they, you know, made you pay that while you're out there. And then the other $240 are like the actual program fees, like the money that goes to Disney in order to let you do the program, I guess, fees for like the activities you do in your first week and things like that. It's kind of like little freshers but without the drinking. So that was the program fee. It then cost me, and yeah, as I said, $442 was £350.49. I think for some people they said it cost them like $352, things like that, so it's around that. Then my flight to Miami from Gatwick cost £382.26, and that includes a carry-on bag and a check bag, because I will be going for 2 months, I will need stuff. Then my flight from Orlando back to Gatwick is £240.77. Again, that includes a check bag and a cabin bag. But yeah, so my total flights were £624, something like that, basically. £623. My total flights were £623 and 3 pence, which I don't think is awful really for a flight. Not even return really, because it's 2 separate bookings, and it's to Miami and then from Orlando, and it's like 9.5 hour flight. I don't think that's an awful price. I know some other people have definitely paid more than that who are going on the program, so yeah, I'm feeling pretty happy about that. Then as I said, my hostel, it cost $26 a night, and then there'll be an additional $23 for something. I don't know what. It just says the balance will be paid. Okay. And then it says local taxes of like $40 as well are going to be payable to the property. I honestly don't really know how much I'll be paying in total, but that will just be figured out when I get there. But so far I've only paid £6.39. That's how much I've paid so far. No idea how much I'm going to be paying in total, but I'll figure that out literally when I get to the hostel on the 5th of June and I check in. And they're like, here's how much you're going to pay. And I'm like, okay, fine. but that's just going to come out actually of my card at some point, so I'll probably make sure I have $127 in there. Yeah, and then there'll be taxes of $40 that will come out when I get there. Again, it has to be by card because then I can't take cash. I'm just like, okay, whatever. Anyway, so then my bus from Miami to Orlando, I think it was meant to cost $21.99, and that's including like my cabin bag and my check bag, obviously from the plane, taking them with me, funny enough. But then I had 11% off as a student, so that cost in total £18.79. So not awful. Then for the Everglades trip, and it was $54, which worked out as £42.76. However, I had 10% cash back. I used Top Cashback for that, so like take away like £4. And so that was quite good. I'd recommend using Top Cashback if you care about money, because it kind of just makes things feel nicer. You get some money back for spending money, as long as you were going to buy it anyway. Obviously don't just get cashback because you were obviously don't just buy things because you can get like 50% cashback or something, because that would just be a bit silly. And then the Key West trip, and that was $39.99, except I got 12% cashback on that through Top Cashback. So again, take like £4 off of that as well. And that is, and then travel insurance. Obviously this is gonna be different for everyone. For me, we have it through our bank, we have it through my mum's and dad's current accounts, and so this is like on top of like the normal price that we pay each month, but we had to pay £86 on top of what we normally pay in order to have it for the whole 71 days I'll be out there as a trip extension. So that's kind of all of the costs I've had so far. As I said, when I get out there, I'm being in Miami from the 5th to the 9th of June, and then I'll be getting the bus to Orlando on the 9th of June. That obviously means I need to find somewhere to stay for the 9th of June to the 10th when we move into Flamingo. That obviously means I need to find somewhere to stay from the 9th to the 10th when we move into Flamingo. I'm hoping to stay in a Disney resort because I think it'll be really cool, and they work out at about £40 a night, I think I've figured out in the past. And so I'd be really happy with that price. I'm just trying to find people who want to share a 4-bed room. But yeah, that should be pretty cool. What else is there to book? The other things, obviously I need to buy my medical insurance for the US. They've given that recommended one. I've not been able to get onto it. Apparently that costs $93 a month. So that would probably be about $200 in total. Then after Disney send the DS 2019 over, I'll have to pay the SEVIS service. I don't exactly know what it stands for, but it's like your right to have a summer work travel thing. That is £30. Then after that, I'll have to book my US Embassy appointment, and that's going to be £150. Apparently, this is just what I've written down at different points. Yeah, so those are all the costs I'm going to encounter before getting there. Also, I'm trying to save up some money for spending money. I want to get like a Universal annual pass. Obviously Miami is going to be relatively expensive, and then I'll actually start earning money when I get to Orlando, so, and then I'll need to buy food and things. But yeah, that's kind of everything so far. I cannot believe it's actually real. I'm on the program. I will be in Florida in June, and I will be working for Disney World, and I will be living there for 2 months. It's crazy. Yeah. Thank you for watching this whole massive long, like 2-hour long video. I cannot believe I managed to talk for this much, but I really hope it helps people, because I found these types of videos really interesting and really, really useful to know a bit more about what's happening, how the application works, all of that. So I really hope that helps other people, and thanks for watching.